Yes, we're back. Okay, hello, Achron fans again. We are back with the second game of Alfie versus Numbers, and this time it's going to be on Withering Dunes, a map we saw before on, I believe, one of Haiku and Chronoburn's games. It's a rather small map, basically a total phone booth fight, and it will be a very interesting map because of how small it is. Likely we'll see a lot of rush strategies, and that seems to be working out really well for Numbers right now, so I will be surprised. I mean, obviously it'd be interesting to see how Alfie plays with this, but it'll be very... Actually, honestly, anything would be surprising, because this is a small map, and on small maps, anything can happen. It's that sort of thing. I mean, really, when you have a small map, you don't have a lot of opportunity for mistakes. So if someone just pulls out a really good strategy very early on, then that's the game. Very quickly the game, too. So we'll see what happens, and it'll be very interesting, though, to see what happens, and that will be a bit of a delay, however, since Merovingian happens to have the phone. Okay, no, he's good. So yeah, so the game will be starting shortly, and once Alfie gets ready, we should be going on the game 2. So, more about Withering Dunes. It's a small map. It's got mains on the center, left and right, and it also has some expansions, mostly in the center. There's a few corner expansions, but not a lot of resources there. About 3 boxes on the top left and bottom right corners, and there's some middle expansions that are basically the naturals, but they're very vulnerable. It's a short rush distance to those naturals and to the main base. It's about 200 by 200. Most of the maps we've seen so far are 256 by 256. Hills, for reference, is 256 by 192. So 200 by 200 is a pretty small map. And that will be, like I said, it seems like Numbers has an easy time with rushes, but Alfie may actually pull out something. He is playing Grekim. They have been nerfed slightly, but they still will likely be able to do rushes well. And the game has begun, so we shall see how this works out. So, once again, Numbers is red in the right side, and Alfie is on the left, blue. Alfie has gone for Grekim, while Numbers has not yet chosen his race, though it looks like he will probably be going for Vecgir as well, knowing him. But he may very well go for anything. He's not usually quite like Haiku, though, in terms of his tendency to change race that much. So he probably will be going for Vecgir. And yes, he is. So it's another Grekim versus Vecgir match. And Numbers is very quickly going out to scout with his units, very likely to build a foundation in his main base. And if you saw the Numbers versus Gurnon in left series in the round of 16, he also did the same thing with Village de Saint-Antoine in the first game, where he built a foundation inside of Gur's base. And that was pretty cool. So we'll see what happens here if he's going to go for the same idea, build a foundation somewhere in that north-central expansion. It looks like that's a Shinvir going to it. I'm not 100% sure, but it's likely to be, and that will mean a foundation in the middle of the map. So Numbers likely to build a forward foundation, if not, then a forward resource processor, but foundation seems more likely. That's a Tethvir, actually, my mistake. So forward comm hub is all that could do. But in the south is a Shinvir, and that could build a forward foundation. Actually, that'd be a really good spot right down there, because it's not likely that Alfie's going to look south to figure out if he's being attacked. He's more likely to go straight across. Zynvir is going into the natural, and it looks like Alfie's still further in the past, building up his main, building up a bunch of RPs, 5 LC, 2 QP, and isn't really focused on the south side of the map. There is a Shinvir there, like I said, that will be dealing some damage, and Numbers has got an RP on every single one of his crates in his main base. A comm hub has been built up there, so yeah, forward comm hub, how about that? So Numbers will know if Alfie attacks to the north. He won't know if Alfie attacks through the center or to the south. Well, the south he will, but the south would be a bad thing for him. The center, however, is one that he won't know about if there is an attack coming. He doesn't have anything to scout that out. And he does have a depot fairly early on, about a minute and a half into the game. He's getting a foundation for the depot. So Alfie is building up a decent amount of economy in his base, but Numbers still is getting the economic advantage once again. And another comm hub is being built near the center, so now Numbers, when he is, will have complete knowledge of what lane is being taken by Alfie when he leaves his base, unless Alfie goes due north and then turns right, but I seriously doubt it's going to happen. That's a very small expansion, very small entrance, and the expansion up there is very small. That won't be very useful for his overall strategy, and it's difficult to path around that. Just getting his units through that little corridor is going to be more frustrating than it's worth compared to just going out and killing one of the comm hubs and allowing that lane to be used freely. The Shinvir, however, has not built a foundation yet. It's just kind of interesting. He Numbers has enough resources to build a foundation with it, but he doesn't seem to be doing that. He is, however, teleporting in some Zion Pulsars, which will be dealing a lot of damage, and they are starting to attack one of the Octos set up for one of the RPs. However, Alfie, of course, is about 2 minutes down from here, and 2.5 actually, so he will be able to respond to this very effectively once it comes up. I use the word very a lot, don't I? He will respond to this effectively, and I imagine he'll respond to it effectively. He has more than enough time to respond to it. He is actually sending out an Octo to scout out, actually don't, to go to the North expansion I mentioned before, the due North expansion, Northwest expansion really, and another couple Octos to try to take this base away from Numbers, but I seriously doubt it's going to work because those Octos are going to be attacked by the Zion Veer. Zion Veer and Octo are fighting. Octo will actually win. You might be able to take one of the crates, but there's already RPs for Numbers, so Numbers knows well enough what's going on. Actually, I think the Zion Veer actually won. Yeah, the Zion Veer actually managed to win that fight, and ultimately got undone. Yeah, the Octo ended up going into the main base instead of going to that Zion Veer, and the main base was under attack. Numbers has defended it, though. He, back when he is, has defended it. And from the future, it looks like Numbers will be able to take out Alfie, but Alfie likely has a much better chance than it looks. So Numbers is focusing, continuing to build RPs, trying to build RPs while being harassed by an Octo. That Octo will likely kill the Zion Veer, but at least the Zion Veer will be able to build some RPs before it dies and take over most of the crates. So Numbers will still have a bit of a resource advantage, though that's not necessarily the best strategy, being that RPs are expensive. You may not want to spend that money on RPs that are going to die unless you can get a Zion Pulsar in to defend very quickly. And that looks like that's exactly what Numbers is going to do. He has his Zion Pulsar right outside of his main base. I don't know if he's going to use that to defend. And no, he's going straight into Alfie's main base to try to attack again, reinforce the attack he had before, though the attack before appears to have been fended off. And that Zion Pulsar is just waiting around, not really doing much. The Zion Pulsar is actually attacking the main base. It is attacking the RP that it attacked before, the Octo that was the RP. More Zion Pulsars coming in from the depot, and the Zion Pulsar is going straight into the main, but an Octopod will be there to meet it next time it comes around, the next time wave. So that Zion Pulsar will not likely last long. 2 or 3 Zion Pulsars would do quite well, though, and it looks like Numbers has 2 or 3 Zion Pulsars, so if he manages to teleport those in, actually it's 5 Zion Pulsars in about a minute in the future. If that's 2 minutes up from when Alfie is, he is, there we go, there's the depot and foundations I was talking about before, that Shinveer has finally built that. So also the Tethveer has built a comm hub there too, so Numbers has complete knowledge of pretty much the entire map. There's very little he doesn't know about being built. However, the top right corner is an area he doesn't know about, but he will know if anything's going there. So Numbers is in a very good spot to figure out what is going on. He has plenty of knowledge of the map. He has complete knowledge of the map, as far as is concerned. A Pharopod, however, is being built. He doesn't have complete knowledge of Alfie's base, apparently. Sending in Zion Pulsars to try to deal with the Pharopod. Pharopod is escaping, going straight to Numbers' base to try to deal with it directly. And no Teth units coming in for Numbers yet. More Zion Pulsars coming in. Not the best strategy. And this will be a problem for Numbers. Numbers needs to build some Teth units right away if he wants to deal with this. Or build a Bastion. That works too. But he doesn't have much beyond that. He needs to get those Teth units right away. That Pharopod is actually, at his time, attacking. So I'm surprised he's not going back in time quickly to get some Teth units. Very focused on his original strategy, is getting a lot of Zion Pulsars and attacking directly with those. And that will deal some damage, of course, but that's still going to be a very open base. The foundations to the south have not been built yet when we are right now. They're built further in the future, but they aren't built yet. The Zion Pulsars are dealing a lot of damage, but only to the RP. The Octopod doesn't actually seem to be attacking them yet. The Pharopod, however, is going straight to defend. It has aborted its main attack on Numbers' base. It's going to defend against the Zion Pulsars. Alfie realizes they're quite a big threat and will be destroying them as quickly as possible. One of them has gone down. The other one will be going down very quickly. Numbers is about a minute up from here and has just gone auto defense when we are right now. He is now a minute up from here. Again, actually, it's about a minute and a half before. Minute up now. Zion Pulsar coming from below, and that might actually be a giveaway about the planned depot. There is no depot there yet, but there is the plan to have a depot, and that will be a problem if that's given away. I don't think the Pharopod is not going south. The Pharopod is going straight into the main base, or as straight as it can. It hasn't flown above the cliffs, but there we are. Now it's flying above the cliffs. We'll be seeing the comm hub, but we'll be ignoring it, going straight into the main base. An Octo, however, to the north, destroying the north comm hub, trying to take out the intelligence on that side. So Numbers will be losing a lot of his intelligence on the north side of the base, but the main lane in the center is the one he really cares about, and that one has not lost his comm hub yet. So Numbers just checking to make sure nothing's gone on in the unplayable pass that he doesn't know about. And the Zion Pulsar, once again, being destroyed. The Firepod doing its job as a bomber, getting through to the main base again, and will be dealing some damage once it gets there. Not a whole lot, however. Auto defense has been researched. Even if it's cloaked, the Foundations will be able to see it. Test units, like I said, would be very helpful, but not strictly necessary. The Firepod, on the other hand, is going straight for the RPs on the natural expansion, and that will be a much better idea than going to the main base, being that's going to be less well defended. Zion Pulsars going around the side, and the Firepod will... Apparently the Firepod had originally gone around to the north side of the base, and Alfie changed it around to go to the south and go to the central expansion. But the Firepod does not seem to be around in the far future. No, actually, is that two? No, it's the same Firepod. We're just getting timeline discontinuity because Alfie has not propagated the changes yet, or nor has another time wave. So just to make sure that the observer doesn't actually break the game, we make sure that any changes that happen are not propagated by the observer. So the Firepod is really in the central expansion where we see it now. It was attacking the north. Numbers did see it attack the north, but it's no longer attacking the north. It's now attacking the expansion. Numbers doesn't really care, though. He's more focused on saving his comm hub or saving his north base. He did actually float his comm hub away from the Octo, try to save it. Not super effective where it is. I don't think it's landed, but it might be, and if it was, that'd be a really cool place to put it. I don't think it is landed, though, and that will be still a bit of scouting, but he already knows it's going down that lane. Actually, I'm really curious if it is landed, though, when it gets to that point. The depot is being built. It's about 6 minutes into the game, or 6 minutes, 45 seconds into the game. Depot is being built. Zion Pulsar's coming around, and here you see the comm center, or comm hub, escaping from that expansion. So Numbers has lost a lot of his intelligence that he had before, and the comm center is floating off the ground. It is not building, and it's... Okay, so the comm center, or comm hub, is not being used as a comm hub. It can't be actually used for commanding, or... Which Numbers is actually using. He's using Smart Idle on one of the comm hubs. And that will be a bit of a problem if that other comm hub dies, because the one comm hub is inactive because it's flying. Flying comm hubs can't really do anything. And that Firepod is going to die. Is that a Zion Pulsar or a Teth Pulsar? I'm not sure. Anyway, presumably Zion Veer did manage to kill off that Firepod. Another Zion Pulsar is destroying the north base. So Alfie's little expansion attempt has been thwarted, pretty much. And Numbers is going to be just cleaning up, getting his map control back, and then from there, getting his main assault. He doesn't have a lot of tech coming up. Legal class has been upgraded for Alfie, and Halcyon class is being upgraded for Numbers when Alfie is. Legal class has been used for Octolivus and the Gargantuan. There we go. This is a much better map for the Gargantuan, being that there are far fewer resource crates. And so stealing resource crates, well, I say and a lot too, don't I, will be very effective, as there are far fewer resource crates to steal. Much bigger net change when it comes to income, and Numbers doesn't really have a lot of safe expansions right now. He has his main. That's about it. So that Gargantuan is going to help. I'm excited to see Alfie use it, and here he comes. The Gargantuan has come in and will start just hovering. Alfie has not actually sent it to attack the crates yet. He's just using it to tank from the looks of it. And there we go. Now he's grabbing the crates. One QP crate has been grabbed. The next one has not been grabbed. I'm not sure if Alfie is focusing on that, if he wants to escape with it. He has one QP crate, though, and that will be at least something. Give him a bit more resources in his main base, but that's not going to be a whole lot taken away from Numbers. Being that Numbers isn't really focused on gate tech yet, he's focused a bit on Halcyon class, but Vecgir needs LC more than it needs QP. A QP crate, QP crate and an Octoligo have been dropped off in Alfie's base. So Numbers hasn't really lost a lot in the way of resource rate. Alfie's gaining a little bit with his main base, but that Gargantuan, I'm surprised he didn't try to just steal everything. I mean, he has enough room for 6 crates. I expected him to just grab everything. I think... Yeah, the crates are 9 units each. So yeah, he has enough room for 6 crates. I'm surprised he didn't just grab every QP crate and 3 of the LC crates. He had plenty of time, he had plenty of energy, or plenty of health, rather. I'm a bit surprised at this turn of events. Alfie really didn't go for the gold on this one. I'm surprised. But Numbers is going to be in a much better position than he would have been had Alfie gone for the complete crate steal. Numbers does need to worry about getting more resources, though. Alfie is starting to get a very high resource rate. He has the north expansions pretty much taken to himself. He has his main base with an extra QP crate. Numbers in the future hasn't really gotten anything in the way of further research. So he doesn't have gate tech. He has no way of chronoporting units back. He does have Halcyon class, but he's not making great use of it. He does have the resources. He has not a lot of LC, though. He has a fair amount of QP, but not a lot of LC. And a Teth Pulsar in his base back when he is about 3 minutes down from what we're trying to think about technology, his base is being pretty heavily attacked by the Pharopod. That is going to be rather devastating. I'm surprised he hasn't gone and sent some test pulsers out to defend against that. And because the Pharopod's not even cloaked, and it wouldn't really matter, he's just sending around Zion pulsers trying to figure out where Alfie has set up RPs, but that's not going to work well for him, seeing that RPs are useful, but he doesn't have any. He needs to put RPs for himself. That Pharopod's doing a lot of damage, getting rid of the RPs off the main crates. He doesn't necessarily have to kill them, just teleporting them away from those crates, getting them down to the other crates where the Gargantuan's quite ready to steal some more crates of his own. Hasn't done so yet, but it's quite ready to do so. Alfie is further in the past, so it's quite likely that the red time wave will come, that Gargantuan will have stolen more crates. But Alfie is not really willing to use that Gargantuan to steal crates a lot. He's just hanging out, using the scout, and not much else. Alfie does appear to be focused a bit more on getting the Lego class up, and he has chronoporting now as well. So he'll likely be chronoporting back some Octolegos or Pharaoh-Legos, maybe Sepi-Legos, but unlikely. He might be... I don't think you can queue through a construction order, like as in Sepi-Lego, Morph Gargantuan, steal crates, but if you can, that might be a good idea. Pharaoh-Legos, however, are the way he's going to go, which is a very good strategy. Pharopod as well to the north. So Pharaoh-Legos are going to come in directly to Numbers' base, likely further in the pass. And Alfie, like I said, he's not doing much with that Gargantuan. I'm quite surprised with that. He does have very little CE, though, so that would kind of explain it. And the Gargantuan has come around as well to the southwest southeast expansion. Pharopod coming down and will be destroyed rather quickly if it gets spotted. I don't think there's a Shinvir there, so it shouldn't be spotted very quickly. And the depot not being used very much in the southwest corner. So Numbers isn't using what he has. He has a lot of QP. He has resource processors. He can convert a lot of that QP to LC. Not the best strategy, but at least for the meantime, when he needs some defenses really quickly. And Alfie, on the other hand, has plenty of both. Grabbing more, stealing more, focused a bit more, about a minute down from when we're looking. Both of them, about half a minute down. Numbers is about a minute down. Alfie is about half a minute down. And the Pharaoh-Legos haven't come back yet, surprisingly enough. There's plenty of CE, plenty of QP. And Alfie hasn't chronoported them back yet from the looks of it. I don't know what's in his main base. Gargantuan is coming around, though, and doing nothing. Alfie seems to be just scouting around the Gargantuan, not really using it to transport or using it to attack or steal crates. Oh, not attack. It doesn't have an attack. But to steal crates. He's just scouting around with it, trying to figure out what's around. Getting an there we go. Now he's dropped an Octolego back when he is. He does drop an Octolego into Numbers' base, which will be a bit more effective, but will not be the... Actually, no, it will be the most effective thing to do. That's actually a really good idea, because an Octolego will be able to attack an undefended base, and Numbers does have time to defend it, but he doesn't have a lot of resources with which to do so. Nor does he have a lot of air units, which would really be the best strategy against the Octolego. So I think Alfie's going to win with one Octolego. Honestly, the amount of RPs... I mean, okay, more than just the Octolego. The Pharopod earlier on harassing, and the Gargantuan didn't really do much, though. But the Octolego coming in right now will be able to deal a lot of damage, and I'm surprised Numbers hasn't actually built anything up to defend against it yet. Admittedly, he doesn't have a lot of resources to do so, but he hasn't converted resources or done anything of that sort. So Alfie's really coming out ahead. On the other hand, Numbers does have that second base. He doesn't have a lot of resources, but he does have the second base, which means that he could be distracting Alfie right now by letting Alfie just take out his main. A risky proposal, though, being that he doesn't have a whole lot built up in that second base, he doesn't have a lot of resources, and he's pretty much out on his own, so I don't understand what exactly Numbers is trying to do right now, or how he plans to win. Octolego has actually been chronoported back too, so that will be able to help himself out. Probably the red time wave, not the blue time wave, will carry that second Octolego, helping out that assault. So the assault on Numbers' base is going to be quite intense. The second base of the south has not been used for much. Some RPs are being built to the south, but that's still not a lot for Numbers. He's not really doing much with what he has. I'm a bit worried. Maybe he disconnected this time too, I don't know. But he's certainly taking his time to try to figure out what to do. He appears to be actually doing stuff, but it's kind of odd. He actually really hasn't done a whole lot right now. So the Gargantuan's coming around. The Pharaoh-Legos have found the south expansion and found the south RPs. I don't know if they found the south south base, but they have found the south RPs. And yeah, no, Numbers is still in the game. He's still jumping around the timeline. I'm not sure what he's trying to do off that, but he's jumping around for sure. Like I said, he has the resources now to build a few defenses. I mean, not anything huge, but at least a Teth Turcher or Shin Turcher or something. The Octolegos have a hard time getting through it, and the Farlegos as well. So I'm just surprised he hasn't really set that up. So the Farlegos coming into the main base, dealing a lot of damage, starting to destroy the RPs and the Annex. Really, Alfie's just completely dominated this game. I'm surprised Numbers has not done a lot. That early resource harassment apparently did a lot to Numbers, at least to Numbers' morale. He hasn't built a lot of defenses, he hasn't built a lot of units. He had a really good setup at the start, too. And yes, Alfie does know about that south base with the foundations. His Gargantuan just passed it on the minimap. So, I don't know what Numbers was trying to do. He had a great scouting start. I'm surprised it fell apart like this. A Zion Halcyon is coming in, however, to help out. Ted Pulsar and Zion Halcyon destroying that main there, and with Numbers set up specials, he could calm jam, but it just seems like it'd be a little too late. Maybe if he had chronoporting right now, but his few resources and lack of expansion early on really, I think, it's cost him the game, honestly. I'm surprised how little he expanded, though, given that he had plenty of time and plenty of open space. And the Gargantuan has stolen the crates from that south expansion, laying empty crates down in their place, and then leaving to probably harass someone else, or harass something else in this map. So, Alfie has gone for some damage, and he's launched a PCM as well at that south base, dealing more damage to that. So Numbers is basically getting attacked on all sides, has very few resources, is not converting the resources he has, and doesn't really seem to be doing much. At his time, he might be doing something, though. And if he is, that would be very interesting to see. But the Zion Halcyon right now is all he has. And the Farlegos have pretty much torn apart his bases. Annex is almost dead. His RPs are being destroyed very rapidly. His expansions are non-existent. And his south base is going to be harassed by a super weapon and will likely just be assaulted next. I don't see how Numbers could get out of this. Very much like the Alfie game last time. It just seems like Numbers has no way of getting out of this. So unless he does something really tricky, which would pretty much require gate tech, which he does not have, I don't see him making it out of this. He is sending a Zion Halcyon in here and will likely be calm jamming everything. Looks like he's just run out of energy, so I think everything's being calm jammed, but why now? Why this late? It seems like, has Numbers been out of the game? Has he not been paying attention? Has he been that focused on trying to get his crates back? Because, like I said, here we are. These are the crates that have been stolen. Alfie's basically been turtling his entire time in his base with stolen crates. Not doing much else. The calm jam may help out, though, like I said, it seems too little too late. The Octolego is coming down. We'll face up the Zion Halcyon, and the Octolego will likely win, with the Farlego support coming in as well from the north. Should easily destroy what exists right now in Numbers' base. The Zion Halcyon actually, I'm not sure how it's going to be able to deal with anything now. The Farpod is fighting nothing because the PCM did destroy that foundation, or the foundation just didn't get built in the first place. The Octolego is being destroyed by the Zion Halcyon, not using its range advantage to its utmost advantage. The Farlego is not helping out either, so the Zion Halcyon will be able to teleport out. And actually, no, get back in the depot, I should say. We'll likely get back in the depot to repair. Is fully repaired and will just be staying here for now. Numbers at his time is likely doing something with it, and I'm guessing Alfie's going to chronoport back something because he does have the ability to do so and definitely has the resources to do so. Though it's just really odd. Neither player really seems to be using the resources they have. They have plenty of resources. They have a decent amount of CE, but they aren't spending a lot of it. And I understand there's a lot of pressure to avoid getting undermined, but even with that, there's way too many resources in the bank for what they can do. Zion Halcyon has been destroyed. I don't think that was... I think it was after it got the comm jam up, so the comm jam should be still active. I don't know for sure. I can't select anything to check, but Numbers is doing very poorly right now. He's getting assaulted very heavily. Alfie seems to be letting him live. I don't know if Alfie's afraid that he has something else in the area. He wants to protect his main base, keep his forces to defend. His Farlego is not comm jammed. I don't even know if his... Just double check that his Triad is comm jammed. And no, his Farpod is not comm jammed. I don't think the Zion Halcyon actually managed to get comm jam off, ultimately. Teth Pulsar is coming in for Numbers, but I don't know, unless Numbers has a serious plan to get back some LC and actually get some expansions going, rebuild his base and rebuild what he has, and start building units, he really should just surrender and go into Game 3, because he's in a very bad spot. His forces are non-existent. Alfie has anything he could want. Really, Alfie's just waiting to win. He's letting Numbers live. Numbers is completely at Alfie's mercy right now, which is a bad position to be, but if your opponent is letting you at your mercy, then it's possible for you to come back. Unlikely, but possible. Though, I don't know why Alfie seems to be just delaying everything. He has plenty of forces. He could easily take out the base right now. I don't know if he's planning on chronoporting some back or what, but he could easily take out Numbers' base. Numbers' main is actually getting rebuilt slightly. Like I said, I'm quite surprised. Numbers is losing to more crates. Alfie's grabbing them more with the Gargantuan. Zion Pulse are coming around the north to try to attack the expansions as well, but I don't know. I mean, really, if Numbers wins this, Alfie just gave it to him. I don't know how I'd call that, because if Alfie's not killing Numbers when he definitely has the chance, it's really getting a little bit, actually, honestly, a little bit annoying. Because Alfie could win this right now. He could just send a few Power Leagues, Noctilego into that base, and completely tear it apart. Maybe chronoport them back to double up, but Alfie can win right now. Right at this very moment, Alfie could just march in and win. However, he's decided simply to just leave everything alive right now, and Numbers is able to get Gate Tech. Numbers has actually managed to research Gate Tech. He's researching it actively, though the Annex that is researching it is getting damaged by a Farligo, but that Farligo is going to go down before the Annex does. I think it is going to be very close, and the Annex lives. So Numbers actually managed to save that Annex, so Alfie's just let him get Gate Tech. Numbers now has Gate Tech, and will be unable to get out of this because he has a fair amount of QP. If he gets the gate up, he will be able to actually send some units back, but I don't know what he really sent back. He has a Teth Pulsar and a couple Zion Veers, I think. Maybe Shin Veers. He might be able to rebuild something, but it's highly unlikely. He could maybe send something back to attack. And he does have a Slipgate up. He's getting more Teth Pulsars. It could help out someone against the air units that are coming in, but at this point, that's not going to be a momentum shifter. Alfie still has momentum on his side. He's still going to be able to win from this position. And further back in the past, Alfie seems to have maybe sent a delayed attack. I don't know. He's not really doing much. Like I said, Alfie is just hanging around, not doing too much, not attacking too heavily. His units, I don't think were comm jammed. It's a bit hard to tell unless you actually select them, but they don't look like they were comm jammed, so I don't see why Alfie isn't attacking right now. And I know I'm harping on this. I'm going over and over again about this because there's really no reason for Alfie to leave Numbers at his mercy. Numbers now has Gate Tech. Numbers now has a Slipgate. Numbers can chronoport units back and get back in this game, and Alfie would have just given it to him. While Alfie is just waiting around with his units and not really building much, not really attacking with much, not setting up a whole lot to deal any real damage, and not actually attacking with that stuff that he can use to deal real damage. He has plenty of Pod Class units and tried. He could get a bunch of Faro Legos and Seppi Legos. He could just attack directly, chronoport them back, attack twice, 3 times with the same unit. And like I said, I don't think they're comm jammed. No, they're not comm jammed. None of those units are comm jammed, at least not the Octopod. And now Slip Propel has been enabled on the Slipgate, so now only cloaked units can get in. So it's going to be another teleport. So a Teth Pulsar has teleported in. Zion Pulsar actually teleported in. Won't last long, but it's teleported in anyway. And no chronoports so far. So Numbers, like I said, really just paying off what are capitalizing on Alfie's mercy. Although Alfie has finally sent. Okay, there we go. Alfie, further in the past, has finally sent an Octolego and Farligo back to actually deal with this. Now Alfie's actually dealing with this attack as it comes in. Now getting the Gate Tech still researched, and weaponry's actually been no, weaponry's not researched. Weaponry would have been researched had Alfie not done that. So Alfie's taken out the side base, but now the main base has been rebuilt. And Alfie really needs to send some units out, just scout the whole place out. Finally, he killed that south base though, and that was the big base threatening him. There's still a base to the east. He needs to take out the base to the east. Obviously, I can't talk to him right now. If I could, that'd be cheating. But he needs to take out the base to the east and just get rid of it. Make the series 1-1. It would end up being a game 3, but that's fine. Just get this over with, Alfie, please. This is getting long. You're giving Numbers a chance to win. You don't want to give the game away like this. It's worth too much. You just don't give it away like so easily. Don't let Numbers take it. Just take it for yourself. Take that game. Tell it who's boss. Kill Numbers. It looks like Barrel's about to beg for that. Yes. Take that Numbers. tap into that warrior instinct that you probably have. I'm sure you've been playing Achron long enough and doing other things, other warriorly things. Just kill him already. And a depot has been built up, so Numbers now has the base he needs to rebuild. The Farligo has come in at Numbers' time to attack, but will be destroyed very handily by the defending forces. And that Numbers has set up. All players have all their tech except for Vecgir power, but that's not really necessary right now. Numbers does not have enough resources, and Numbers is practically coming back now. He has his slipgate built up. Alfie's... I don't know if Alfie's just taunting Numbers, if he's yanking his chain, like if he's gonna let him build up and then come in with a giant force of the unplayable pass and just tear him apart. I don't know what he's trying to do, but Numbers is taking advantage of it for all it's worth. He has a slipgate up, he has a depot up, he has resources back. He should be able to build more RPs now and actually take advantage of what he had. Take his main base back, just build everything back up again. It's a Zion Halcyon, he can send back in time, calm jam everything, not a huge deal, but still could calm jam stuff. Another Zion Halcyon and Zion Pulsar coming in as well. Really, this is a giant siege force, could just come in, tear apart Alfie's base, and Alfie wouldn't have anything to do about it. He'd be done. So right now, Numbers is trying to take advantage of Alfie's mercy, really taking advantage of it. A Zion Turcher as well will be built, though it looks like there was a bit of a misstep on Alfie's part. And, okay, a freeze bomb on that foundation. So the Farligo has actually, Alfie's gone back and freeze bomb the Farligo. And, well, freeze bomb is always going to affect the base unit. Freeze bomb that foundation, however, that will be slightly effective, but really a Teth Turcher coming up will be able to recover it. So if Numbers build a Teth Turcher instead of that Zion Turcher, it should be good. That Slipgate will be a bit delayed, but he wasn't using it anyway, so Numbers still in a improving position. Alfie has the upper hand. Alfie is really just a matter of how long he wants to wait, and he has actually canceled that Chrono Freeze and is attacking directly, so Alfie was pretty much just yanking Numbers' chain from the looks of it, though Numbers still could take advantage of it. That blue time wave is what's carrying the destruction of that Slipgate, and Alfie's actual attack. So Numbers could theoretically come back from this if he's quick about it, but he only has about 5 seconds, maybe 10 seconds to do so before that time wave catches up. And now it's going to be a bit too late. Numbers hasn't chronoported anything back from the looks of it. He's still trying to rebuild, and yep, we see that has been freeze bombed, and now the blue time wave comes to erase it from existence entirely. Interesting attempt Numbers, but still kind of lone resources. Like I said, I'm really surprised that both players are kind of dragging this out a bit. Numbers didn't really build as much as he could have, especially defending against air, and Alfie just left him at his own mercy for 10 minutes. So both players not really going for it, not really using the warrior instinct, just kill each other already. They should die. Oh, fountains of blood. Okay, Numbers has GG'd. So round 3, Numbers has given up on this map. Phew. Well, I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. Actually, I hope you enjoyed that far more than I did, because I actually want to get views in this channel. So that was long and intense and just so that will be Game 2. Game 3 will be starting shortly. Oh, man. This is, like, Achron's still kind of in development for metagame. So there's a lot of instances where players do things that seem stupid from the point of view of other RTS games, like letting your opponent live. Now, Alfie, of course, still won that game, but he could have won it 15 minutes sooner. He had plenty of resources, he had plenty of forces. He could have destroyed Numbers in no time. I'm surprised he waited that long, but that's what he chose to do. That is a win for Alfie. So Numbers is going to pick the next map. Alfie will have the choice to veto it. Numbers has not picked it yet. He will soon, and we will see what's up next. The next map will probably be... Numbers gets the choice, probably a larger resource-heavy map like Desecrated Temple, because he seems to do well in large maps. He's actually chosen hills, but that's not going to work out. Let's choose a different map. So a different map each time, and once he chooses a map that will work for both him and Alfie, we will see Game 3. He has chosen Village de Saint-Antoine. All right, then. I was not expecting that, but he's decided to go for a bit of a smaller map. He played on this before, but that was against Gur, and actually didn't work out well for him. I don't know if he's going to, if Alfie, I should say, is going to keep it. I'm just surprised at Numbers' choice, that he's gone for a small, resource-poor map like that. However, if it works out, then it works out. It is a bit of a smaller map, so it would be better for rushes than, say, Desecrated Temple. Though, why he'd go for a small resource map like that is still pretty large, is beyond me. I don't know if he is confident he's going to be able to pull it out. And Alfie has actually vetoed the map, so Numbers will have to choose a different map. Alfie has vetoed the choice of Village de Saint-Antoine. So Numbers will have to choose another map. No, never mind. Alfie has actually, he's neglected that veto, so Alfie has not vetoed the map. He has accepted the map. He had originally vetoed it, but he decided that he actually has... No, he is vetoing it. He seemed indecisive in chat. So yes, Alfie has vetoed the map. We will choose a different map now. Numbers will have to choose a different map than Village de Saint-Antoine, which will likely work out well for him. I'm surprised a little bit that Alfie actually chose to veto. So Numbers will actually have a chance to choose a much more resource-rich map, which, as we've seen before, works out well for him. Alfie, I think, has just shot himself in the foot. I'm going to be honest right now. Alfie has put himself in a really bad position. Numbers has chosen Frostbite, and that is the map we will play on, since there's only one veto per player. And I think Alfie has put himself in a really bad position. He clearly does well on resource-poor maps, especially when he can use his Gargantuan. On resource-rich maps, having a Gargantuan stealing crates takes, like I said, 3 or 4 cycles in order to actually get all the crates, which is a lot harder to do, and your opponent has much greater chance of getting a larger number of expansions, spreading out more, making it hard to actually do a lot of real damage with their Gargantuan stealing the crates. Thus, I don't understand Alfie's pick, or Alfie's allowance. So, this will be an interesting match. I kind of hope for Alfie's sake he didn't shoot himself in the foot, because that would be unfortunate. Though he may do fine on large resource maps if he doesn't actually or if he doesn't try to go for Gargantuans. He will be having... No, sorry, a bit of technical difficulties when it comes to the map choice. He will be setting it up pretty quickly, and once that's done, we will get started on Frostbite. This is a map that I don't think has been shown yet. It might have been. It's a larger, more... No, it was shown. I believe, actually, it was one of the maps... Yes, it's the third map of the Numbers and Gurren on Left game. That map was a larger map. It's not super resource-rich, but it has a lot of spread-out resources, which means that it is still easier to keep a lot of secure expansions. I don't see it working well for Alfie, given his style shown so far, but he might have a trick up his sleeve to deal with this. At this point, his play has largely been focusing on getting Gargantuans, but he might, if he just goes for Lego class, just pure Lego class, and maybe Pod class, especially to support, he should be able to pull it out, because Numbers is very focused on ground units so far. Numbers may change it up, but Alfie, so far, has been building up a good start point. He just hasn't been pushing it and just finishing it up. If he does that, I think he has a good chance. But Numbers, I think, has the advantage in this map and in this game. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully a more even match than I'm thinking it will be. And once this gets up, we will have game on, and both players will be, I believe, getting ready pretty soon. And once that gets set up, once players get updated properly, I'm not sure why they weren't updated yet, but get the game started. So Frostbite is also a bit of a... I think it's about the same size as Village de Saint-Antoine. I'm pretty sure it's 256 by 256. So that will be still a small fight, I think. I haven't double-checked, but it looks about that size. And it will be a smaller map, and it is, yes. Meryl Vision has confirmed this. He was the man who made the map. So it is 256 by 256 map. It will be a smaller fight. It will be about as rush-heavy as Hills was. Hills being, let's say, 256 by 192. So this size of map, very conducive to rushes, so will help numbers out. Lots of resources, which will help numbers out. Spread out, which will help numbers out. Alfie, I'm not sure what he has in his favor. He will be able to hide the Gargantuan around and pull it different spots to help himself, but he won't be able to turtle as easily as he would like. There's a lot of openness in that particular map. There's a lot of... What the... There's a lot of resources spread out in small boxes, so it's possible that a few boxes getting away here and there will be done effectively. The Gargantuan stealing might work, and from there, at least for some of the expansions, because there are only 4 crates in some of the expansions, those ones will be easy to harass. The longer lines will be harder to harass, won't be as effective, and if numbers goes for that primarily, it should work. But if he doesn't, then Alfie will actually have a chance to pull it out, really, if he uses a Gargantuan well, or just focuses on everything else, just focuses on pod and legal class units, don't bother with Gargantuans, or at least not much. If he pulls that and actually makes it work, then it should be fine. He will have a chance. I don't know how good of a chance, but he can get enough harassment to win, and if he does that, as we saw in the last game, if he does that eventually, if he does that, then he will be able to pull out and win this game 2-1. Otherwise, numbers will take it and move on to the semifinals. So whoever wins this moves on to the semifinals against Haiku, who won the last match, although the bracket screen doesn't show it yet. It will show it when we get to the next game after this, the Google Frog versus Torben match. And we will be getting this started once Numbers is ready. Numbers is just getting himself prepped. And that will be a little while, hopefully not too long. So, just so you guys know, there won't be any more technical issues from here on out, I assure you. The Google Frog and Torben match and the Dark Vortex versus Schalke matches have both been pre-recorded, turned into AVIs, and will just be presented. I am still going to commentate over them, but live, that is. But I am going to be commentating over video rather than over a live game, so that it doesn't have any of the technical problems we had before when we started the Alpha versus Numbers matches. And that will probably be another hour and a half after this, so just so you know, in case you're thinking, oh man, I'm tired, I want to go to bed. This next game should probably take about an hour or two, given the current rate. No, I'm kidding. It'll probably take about half an hour. Actually, it's still pretty long. Hopefully it won't take that long. Please, people, be confident in yourself. You can kill. You have it in you. The warrior spirit. Anyway, so once that's done, then we'll move on to the other games, which will be about an hour and a half. Those will be a bit more exciting, a bit tighter. And that will be the quarterfinals. We'll see who will be in the semifinals. But yeah, the left side we know that Haiku is in... And the game has started. Okay, there we go. The game has started, and... Just cut my little commentary short. And both players are actually on the south side of the map, so rather close positions. And we will be seeing more rushing. I mean, this is a close position match. This is 256 units in between instead of 256 times root 2, which if I recall correctly is somewhere around 320. And though I'm trying to do irrational math in my head on the fly while trying to commentate, which I normally can do, and Numbers is sending out some units to scout. This is a 4-player map, by the way. There are 4-player spots, each on the corners, and the actual player distribution is randomized. So this is a map where you actually have to scout out, figure out where your opponent is first. And it's the one thing that doesn't make it as conducive to rushes is the fact that you do have to scout your opponent first, so there's less meta time. On the other hand, you do have an attack closer to the UPP. Instead of having initiative, though, you now have the last word, and that means that the UPP attack will just be more effective. Because you're attacking, you have to attack the UPP, your opponent's going to have a hard time countering it, which means you're going to have an easier time actually dealing meaningful damage. Numbers is sending out his scouts, however. He will be finding the base rather quickly. He's sending out each of his infantry to each of the corners. I believe it's his Zion Beer that will find the base first. while another Zion, I think it's Zion Beer, looks like it's set up to expand. Or just set up to attack and rush. Might be a Shinveer too. As we said before, Numbers really enjoy sending Shinveers out to do proxy foundations. It's a very... A 10th Veer actually was sent out. So likely a proxy comm hub. I'm not sure how useful it is on this particular map. It's not the most comm hub friendly. Zion Beer looks like it's expanding to the west, and because the base has been found. Shinveer expanding, or going to the northeast. I don't know if he's going to be setting up a foundation there. I kind of doubt it. It'd be kind of an independent base, but he only has 36 LP at the moment, or LC at the moment, and he's got a base to build. So I don't imagine he's going to be building a second base on another corner. But he's done similar things before, so it's possible. It just seems like a bad idea. And a comm hub is being built actually at the corner, so Alfie will not be able to leave his base in any fashion without Numbers knowing. But Alfie won't actually know about the comm hub until he comes up onto that ramp, onto that natural expansion, which he may do quite quickly. However, that comm hub's still pretty out of the way. Once it sets up, will be possible for Numbers to pretty much see most of Alfie's base and what Alfie does, the expansions and all that. And back when Numbers is in the future, he's actually attacking rather heavily. Obviously, this isn't going to happen for real, but he is attacking rather heavily in the future, so Alfie does see damage on the timeline. Not ultimately real damage, echo damage, but still distracting a little bit. But Alfie doesn't seem fazed by it. He's focused on the past, not focused on the future, and has a decent army set up. At his own time, he's got a better army set up, of course. Numbers is building up his main base. His Shinveer on the top right does not seem to be building anything yet. If he will, it's going to be far later in the game. And it wouldn't be a bad idea mid-late game to have a second base on the other side of the map so that Alfie's a harder time harassing both sides. But at this point in the game, Numbers does not have the resources to get away with this. He simply doesn't have enough money to build foundations in his main base and build a proxy foundation on the other side of the map. It will help out when countering Alfie, because Alfie might scout out that base and think, oh, well, maybe he's in the top right, when he's really in the bottom left. Though I seriously thought it was going to happen because Alfie would see that there's no real expansion there. There wouldn't be a lot of buildings there. Shinveer is not, however, building a foundation, so it's not an issue. And more Octos, Faro said he's coming up. And it looks like the comm hub is set up, built up, and we are seeing that Numbers knows what Alfie's up to. He knows he's sending an Octo out. The Octo may see that the comm hub exists, and it does. The Octo has spotted the comm hub. Alfie is probably wise to this by now. Numbers was using it a lot in the last game. So Alfie, likely wise to the use of comm hubs, is attacking it directly, going for it straight, and will be dealing with it very quickly. While Numbers, back in his own base, likely building a depot, and from there will be building more vehicles, probably going for the same idea he had before. It seems that his comm hub is actually being lifted off the ground to avoid the Octos, and no depot has been built yet in the main base. The comm hub is being hovered over the mountains. I don't believe there's enough room in the mountains to land, but those do look fairly flat. You might be able to land a comm hub on it, and from there have an even better view of Alfie's base. Not a good view of Alfie's ramp, though, but a good view of Alfie's base, which could help. And Numbers is also expanding to the expansion between the two of them, the line expansion between the two of them, which will be effective as well, provided that these Octos are distracted, pulled away. Alfie is probably actually going to be getting away from there, not using the Octos to attack that Zion Beer. But the Zion Beer is running away, distracting the Octos as it is. The comm hub is actually replacing itself back where it was before, and a depot has been built for Numbers. Numbers actually also building an expansion in the top left corner of the map. And I think at Alfie's time, those Octos are probably doing something more effective. Probably actually attacking the RP for one thing. An Octopod is also being built, and more Octos, so Alfie really likes his ground troops. He seems to be focusing on the ground troop heavy army into Lego class. He does have advanced structures, he does have Aspire, he could build air units if he wants to, and he's just spent quite a bit of money, so I'm guessing he's just built some air units. He's also getting Lego class rather quickly, so probably going to build a Pharopod and then use that. Yes, he has a Pharopod. Use that to Trojan with the Octopod to make Lego class units, make a Septi Lego, maybe make a Gargantuan, though, you know what, this game might work. Numbers has not expanded as aggressively as he did in the first game on Hills by the time that Lego class was upgraded, so Alfie might actually be able to pull this out and make the Gargantuan work for him. A dome is being built by the entrance, the center entrance of the natural as well for Alfie, so Alfie will be able to defend himself a bit better. Zion Pulsars coming in from Numbers, coming in directly, do not seem to have skip teleport or are not using their skip teleport. And the top right expansion seems to be the more concentrated one for numbers. Common Hub as well, not actually landing where it would be, but surprising. It seems to have just been stopped in the middle of its landing sequence. While Alfie is back at his own time, continuing to build up. He has Leo class now. He could very quickly get some Seppi Legos. He doesn't have a whole lot of resources, though. That's his one bottleneck at this point. He has very few resources, and he doesn't seem to be really building up much other than that. So I'm not sure why he doesn't have... Okay, anyway, not sure why he doesn't have... Oh, never mind, he doesn't have a lot of resources. Sorry, there was a bit of a jump there. The stream seemed to have died a bit. So anyway, the Faro pod has been landed. I don't think a Seppi Lego is yet affordable, but it will be affordable soon. Probably in about a minute or so, which is a fairly long amount of time. However, it's close to the unplayable past, so there is a good chance that Alfie will be able to get away with doing this. Zion Pulsers coming in from numbers as well, coming in from the depot. More Zion Pulsers also will be coming in. More Zion Pulsers are coming in from the south, and will be dealing a fair amount of damage if they get there. However, they seem to be a bit more focused on harassing around the map, just double-checking that there's nothing there defending. Octo is also going north to try to deal with the expansion. Zion Pulse actually seems to be in the base. They are upgrading Skip Teleport, so Numbers is getting Teleport on them. And there will be a... probably a teleport attack. It looks like Numbers is a bit more focused on getting... Yeah, he's got the Zion Pulsers there right now. He is attacking with Zion Pulsers. It seems to be a bit delayed compared to his original attack, which was several minutes ago. So the Zion Pulsers ultimately coming in, not teleporting in, mind you, oddly enough, but they are... they are going to be... they are going to be attacking very rapidly. I apologize for that distraction. There's a bit of distraction right now. But they are going to be attacking. They have not dealt a lot of damage. Ultimately, the defense of the pod class duo being on the ground did manage to hold it off. And a Seppi Lego is being built. There it is. That's the Seppi Lego I was looking for. May become a Gargantuan. I'm not sure. Right now, it could actually work. There aren't a lot of expansions around the map, so Seppi Lego is going around the scout. Not building a Gargantuan yet, but will likely be building one soon, given Alfie's style so far. It's not particularly expensive. You can build one right now if he wants to. Just, however, hanging out with Seppi Lego. Not attacking yet. He could actually build a second one if he wants to. It wouldn't be a bad idea. More Zion Pulsers actually teleporting in. The Seppi Lego is going to be here to help defend, and the Zion Pulsers will be taken care of in short order. Octos coming around to help deal with them. The Zion Pulsers are not teleporting around to dodge the Octos, so it wouldn't help much seeing as the Seppi Lego is there. And it is becoming Gargantuan. However, the Zion Pulsers have come in again. This is when the Zion Pulsar attack we just saw, I think, actually. Yeah, the Zion Pulsars we just saw. Seppi Lego isn't going to be as effective to attack, and now Numbers knows full well that there is a Gargantuan coming in to try to steal his crates, or at least he will if he goes back to this time. He is, however, focused on the time half a minute ahead of now, so Alfie will be able to get away with this unless Numbers comes back to look. And the Gargantuan going north to try to steal some resource crates. From Numbers' point of view, none of this actually really happened yet. Gargantuan is coming in from Alfie's point of view, however, and will be able to steal the crates if it wants to. It doesn't seem to be going for it quite yet, but he does have the opportunity. He is going around to try to steal the crates. Now he is getting one of the QP crates. He's got another QP crate, and I think that's all he's going to take. He's getting attacked rather heavily by the forces coming in, the infantry that were help defending that base, but the QP has been taken, so Numbers has no QP in the North expansion. I'm a bit surprised he didn't grab more QP from that other expansion, but he probably will grab QP from the Northwest expansion when he gets the chance. Setting up in his base to help Turtle in his base, also building up an expansion at that center expansion, and also his line expansion in between the two players. So the Gargantuan's actually being more useful this time. Like I said, Numbers is less spread out than he was last time. So a Gargantuan coming in, stealing resource crates is going to be a bigger change than it would have been in the first game of Hills. Here's the Gargantuan we saw before, just coming in, stealing resource crates. Alfie is also setting up more orders, probably more orders for the Gargantuan, but maybe not. No, he is, yes. The Gargantuan is actually going into the main base from the looks of it, and will be probably grabbing the crates from there too, although I'm not sure how effective it's going to be. Those crates are mostly drained. They aren't really used very much. And it's just getting attacked. We are ahead of where Alfie actually is, though, so the actual orders aren't being updated to when we are quite yet. But jumping back a bit further, we should see Alfie actually grab that QP crate. There we are. Alfie has the QP crate, has escaped with it. Shin triggers have been built. Alfie, having more QP now, will be able to actually do some meaningful tech up and meaningful harassment from there, possibly get chronoporting, get more Lego class units. He has an Octo Lego right now, and he should probably get more Septi Legos or Faro Legos, and maybe chronoport them back as well. A bit expensive to do so. Shin Turtles, however, coming in from numbers point of view to attack, and will be dealing a lot of damage once they get in, because there isn't a lot of defense set up yet for Alfie. This is one risk of this sort of strategy, is that you don't have a lot of defense set up. You just have a lot of tech set up. It's useful if you are able to hold off any attacks coming in, but unfortunately Alfie hasn't really set up a lot of defense. A couple Septi Legos would have been nice right now. The Gargantuan was still handy, but the Septi Legos would be very useful. The Octo Lego won't do much. Those Shin Turtles are bomber units. They won't help out a whole lot. The Gargantuan, on the other hand, is going to be completely useless in this situation. Really should be going around just scouting around what other bases are there and what other crates that Alfie can take from Numbers, because Numbers still has some Northwest expansion, and that's giving him some QP. Not a whole lot of QP, but it's still giving him some QP. So that would be another thing that Alfie could do, just to cripple Numbers just a little bit more. Alfie getting chronoporting right now, as I thought he would be getting. Getting chronoporting as the Shin Turtles are coming in, deal some damage, and a dome is also being built, 2 domes being built as well. So the domes are going to be effective against the Shin Turtles. That will really help defend, and Numbers still coming with the Shin Turtles. The Shin Turtles are probably still working on his old orders. The domes will be able to take care of them handily, and Numbers from his own time doesn't actually see the domes yet. The domes have not been built from Numbers' own point of view. The Red Time Wave will carry them into his point of view, but it may be too late by then, because by that point the attack will actually have fallen in the unplayable past, and yes, it has. So the attack falling into the unplayable past, those Shin Turtles are doomed. The domes will be heavily damaged, but those Shin Turtles are still completely done for. So that attack was decently well defended. Alfie's doing a very good job, pretty much pulling what Numbers are supposed to pull, and really good defense on past attacks, or on unplayable past attacks. So, well done for Alfie. I don't know what he's planning on doing right now with our Gargantuan, though. Like I said, he should be scouting around, figuring out what other RPs are around the map. Numbers knows there's a Gargantuan, so there's no reason to hide it. So all Alfie needs to do is just send it around, grab more RPs. More Shin Turtles coming up for, and Teth Turtles as well coming up for Numbers. Try to deal with this expansion, dealing with the line expansion in the center, and also to deal with the main base. Faro Legos coming up. Likely to be chronoported. There isn't a whole lot of QP, though, for Numbers. Sorry, for Alfie. Numbers doesn't really carry, he doesn't have gate tech yet. Though Numbers could use it. Well, he couldn't really use it yet. He has a lot of LC, not a lot of QP. He really needs to get a lot of RPs on QP, as many QP crates as he can. Get some Teth Pulsers and Zion Pulsers around the map to help defend, to help just secure those locations. And then he'll be able to easily get back into the game from here. Right now, he does have the upper hand in terms of units, but Alfie's tech advantage might actually start paying off if he starts chronoporting units back, which will be the real clincher. He has a Faro Lego coming in, another Faro Lego coming in. That will be very effective, not against these units right now, but if he chronoports them back, very effective unplayable pass attack, and actually managed to get rid of that Teth Turtle rather handily. And the Shin Turtle won't last very long at all, so right now that's actually a very handy attack. The Shin Turtle and Teth Turtle both being destroyed very quickly by that Faro Lego. So Alfie really should be chronoporting that back just to get that slight advantage. And here we actually have more. Here are Teth Pulsers and Teth Turtles and Zion Pulsers. And more expansions going on. So Numbers actually seems to be doing exactly what I suggested. But I'm not sure if he's getting as many expansions as would be best. He does have a lot of LC, a huge amount of LC compared to QP. And his QP is his bottleneck right now. He needs to get as many QP crates as he can. He needs to destroy as many QP crates of Alfies as he can. Because, of course, chronoporting can happen now. And he may not be aware of this. But chronoporting can happen, and it may have happened already. It's hard to tell. The Far Body's coming back around. That'd be a very likely candidate for a chronoport. Coming around, will be meeting up with the Teth Turtles, but the Teth Turtles will do nothing to it, seeing as the Teth Turtles cannot detect cloak units. No Shin Beards, I don't think, but I could be wrong. No Foundations either. So the Far Pod's coming in for free, but it's attacking a fairly useless base right now because that base is not doing much at all. Zion Pulsers, however, coming out from that base, and aren't doing much either. Numbers is not focused on this point in time. The Gargantuan seems to be going up to the northwest base to steal more resource crates. And here we are, Zion Pulsers and Teth Pulsers, Zion Pulsers and Teth Turchers coming around the north side of the base and dealing with some of the RPs that are on the QP crates that were stolen. Alfie's point of view, none of this has happened yet, but all of this is happening about 2 minutes from now anyway. A foundation has been built in the northeast, as I mentioned earlier, might be built. And Gargantuan is at the northwest base, has not stolen any crates yet, oddly enough. It's actually just leaving the place right now without stealing any crates. At the center expansion is possibly going to steal some crates. It'd be a very good idea to steal crates from here and from the North expansion, just in one pass. But he hasn't gone and done that yet. And Alfie is going to be able to deal with that Annex. So actually, the Fire Pod did manage to kill the Annex. No Shin Churches yet, which would really be helpful. Numbers should have built some Shin Churches where they're built another foundation. Just that was enough. Numbers' point of view, however, he is dealing a lot of damage to Alfie's base. Even at Alfie's point of view, those Giant Pulsers will be able to take care of Numbers' base. I'm just surprised that Numbers has not built a foundation back there. He sees that, he should see that there's damage going on. He hasn't seen this damage, and if it's flashing red, which is what happens when you have damage that you haven't seen, when it's flashing red, you don't ignore it. You pay attention to it. Because that means that you're going to attack very heavily. Numbers looking back here to see what's going on, actually paying attention this time, seeing a Firepod is attacking, or possibly seeing a Firepod is attacking. From Alfie's point of view, there is not much going on against that Firepod. The Firepod just got free reign in space, destroying everything it can, rather slowly, mind you, but still having a chance to destroy everything it can. Another Foundation's coming up, finally getting rid of that Firepod. The Numbers actually paying attention here, getting rid of the Firepod and attacking with those forces. Will be encountering a lot of domes, a lot of resistance. He needs to teleport those, or change the teleport location. Those domes will be able to tear up his Zion Pulsers. All his Zion Pulsers have really is range, and he's not making use of that advantage at all. So Zion Pulsers need to get into a larger range, teleport back, get away from there, just destroy the domes, destroy the Alpha-Legos. It may still work out though, but it's risky because Alfie can still chronoport units back to support himself, and that would change the game entirely. So those Zion Pulsers are way too close to the target, but they still managed to pull out of it. So they won the battle, but Alfie still has a chance to chronoport some units back, support themselves, and turn the battle in his favor again. I'm not sure if he's doing that yet, but he can if he wants to, purely at his leisure. He has plenty of QP, and he has the units to do it. Really, that Octolego, having two of those, will turn the tide. He doesn't seem to be doing that, though. He doesn't have any chronoport units coming in. I know we don't see any chronoport units coming in, so Numbers' forces are still attacking unimpeded. Nothing is coming in from the future to help out right now. Like I said, it's very odd. Alfie definitely has the opportunity to do this. Farlego could also be helpful to chronoport that back. However, less helpful because the test surfaces are just discontinued. So we saw before, the Farlego does deal a lot of damage. So the test searchers will still have to deal with that. And then test pulsers coming in as well, also helping out. Like I said, Numbers is managing to do a lot. There's the Farlego just coming out, not really doing much. Is chronoporting back. There we go. So Farlego is chronoporting back and will be able to change the game. Has actually frozen everything up. So that's what we needed to see. So Alfie has managed to freeze up all the units from Numbers that came in, completely defending his base. Much better how to do that time. So there we go. The chronoport has paid off. I was waiting for that. So Numbers will be losing that entire attack that came in, which is a rather expensive attack, although Numbers still has a lot of LC. Not a lot of QP, but a lot of LC. So, well done for Alfie. Nice defense. Numbers does need to get a stronger offense in, though. And once that happens, then this will be Numbers' game. But Alfie is still in a good spot if he's able to take advantage of what he has right now. He still has some resources. He can still chronoport units back. He can still try to harass, take out what he can, scout around, figure out what Numbers is up to, and then undo it. Just stop Numbers from having done that in the first place. Because you have chronoporting, you're playing Grekim, you can do a lot of stuff with this. Octolego has actually been sent back, however not sent back in time, just sent into Numbers' base to try to deal some damage. Bit surprised it hasn't actually jumped back in time to try to deal some damage further in the past. And no, it hasn't. Alfie's not sending it back. He is also not building a whole lot of units in his main base, I don't think. He may be, but he wasn't. No, he's not spending a lot of cash. He doesn't have a lot of CE either, which might explain it, but he still doesn't have a lot of cash, and I'm surprised he hasn't just gone a bit forward and then sent that Octolego back in time to help attack, deal more damage. Right now, Numbers has map control. And Numbers has the entire map. All he needs to do is grab as many QP crates as he can, and he'll be able to just take this. He has everything. He doesn't have Halcyon Class, though, but he has still plenty of units. Alfie is not taking advantage of the advantage he has with the chronoporting. And I know that chronoporting is fairly expensive for Leo class units, but even a few Pharopods would still be reasonable. It would still be somewhat expensive, but it'd be reasonable. The CE, however, is very low. He's very close to the unplayable pass, and fast-forwarding would also be a good idea. Get out of the unplayable pass. Just get out of that hole, because there's a lot of CE you have to spend in every single order. And it is comfortable because you know you have the last word, but the problem is that you also don't have a lot of orders you can send. That is going to be the biggest issue. Because Numbers can now send back these units. There were some units being built, but not a whole lot Farligo as well. Farpod's up to help defend. More Temp Searchers and Shin Searchers coming in probably will die, unfortunately, on arrival. Because a lot of domes are set up, and those are very effective against air units. Alfie is now fast-forwarding from the looks of it, though I'm not 100% sure. He may have just jumped forward slightly. And Numbers has actually jumped back as well as just double-check. From the looks of it, he's just double-checking and making sure that nothing has been sent back to harass him far in the past. And no, it hasn't. Alfie has not actually sent anything other than the Gargantuan, and that was not sent in the past. Gargantuans cannot chronoport. But, okay, there we go. A Plasma Increase Missile from the looks of it has been sent back to damage the base. Alfie has actually managed to send off a super weapon, which will be dealing enough damage to turn the tide somewhat. Or was that a super weapon? It almost looks like a skip torpedo accidentally blew up inside of Numbers' own base. That's not what a plasma cruise missile looks like. Plasma cruise missile is more of a flowery purple explosion. That looked like a skip torpedo accidentally blew up his own base. I think Numbers just accidentally nuked himself. That is embarrassing. But Numbers has had 2 bases. And actually, there's been a pause. A pause has been declared. Not sure what's going on exactly, why there's a pause declared. Oh, never mind. Was there a nano infection? Not sure. I'm not sure if there's might have been a nano infection on the ACC. Double check. Maybe double check on the ACC. Just click on it and see if there's anything suspicious there. I think you can click on it while it's paused. And it looks like, yeah, a nanite may have been. I think that nanite must have been what was used, because I can't imagine Numbers would just nuked his own base like that. Oxaligos can nanite infect. There is... Actually, it's hard to tell. The Aero Control Center did nuke itself, but I can't even see if the nanite's there, oddly enough, as an observer. But yeah, the Aero Control Center just nuked itself. So, presumably, Oxaligo did nanite infect it, and Alfie did take advantage of that nanite infection to make the nuke happen. Nicely done for Alfie. Still, Alfie is not capitalizing what he has. He's taking out one base with another base in the northeast corner. He's not scouting it out very well, and he should probably suspect that there's something, because there was an expansion there earlier. So we just see what Alfie's, his own time, is probably setting up something, but it's hard to tell. And it looks like the depot was probably be used to rebuild stuff. And it's another setup here. So the north base, however, is getting a lot of units, and Numbers still has a ton of cash. And Numbers actually has managed to get a lot of money in the meantime. So he will be able to build a lot of units. He actually will be able to get, if he wanted to, get Gate Tech and Chronoport back and fix some stuff. But he doesn't have to at this point. Alfie's not going back in time. Numbers really does still have the upper hand. He doesn't have as much of a tech advantage, but he has a lot of units. All he needs to do is get one good assault on Alfie's base. One good assault that even a Chronoport won't undo. And if he does that, he'll be set. And it looks like he's gearing up to do that right now. He's got a massive force coming in. All he needs to do is hierarchy them up. Getting an auto hierarchy would be very handy right about now. Hierarchy them up, and then just get it going. Just get into their base and tear them apart. That will, if Numbers pulls this off, that'll end it. However, he's getting far into the future, and Alfie will, the longer he waits, the more time Alfie has to set up a counterattack. Infantry coming on to introduce his attack for Numbers, and once the infantry comes in, that'll likely be the segue into the vehicles. Alfie seems to be focused more on the main base of Numbers. At his own time, he has destroyed Numbers' main base. He's focused on the expansions to the north, while Numbers is just getting his infantry prepared for an attack. Further back, Numbers has actually started maybe attacking? I'm not sure. It looks like he has just sending more infantry down to attack. None of them have actually started attacking yet. He's just paying attention at this point in time, making sure nothing fishy is going on. A Farligo has actually been set up to scout this out, and that will be effective in dealing with this if it comes down to fight, but I don't know that Farligo is actually going to be moving around to deal with this very effectively. Infantry are setting out. The Farligo won't be able to get through this defense that has been set up so far, and more RPs have been set up around the outside natural expansion to destroy, or not destroy anything. RPs don't destroy a thing. RPs are set up to get resources and allow Numbers to build stuff to destroy with. That dome is doing pretty well. Weaponry has been upgraded, so domes are going to be effective against ground units. And here come the Shin Churchers, destroying the RPs as they come through. And the rest of the vehicles are coming in as well. So from Numbers' point of view, he's going for the assault. The infantry are attacking the natural, and vehicles are coming around the right side. will be dealing a lot of damage, provided they come in well enough. The dome has been destroyed by the infantry, managed to get through it. More Fire Legos in the main base, which will be decently effective, but that's going to be one Fire Lego. A good Freeze Bomb will stop this, but that's about it. There needs to be some test searchers, however, to stop that Freeze Bomb just in the back to recover anything that comes up. Because the Fire Legos, of course, can't recover themselves. You need Fire Pod to recover. There is a Fire Pod down there, though, so that Fire Lego can freeze for free. The other Fire Legos in the north, however, has not exposed anything yet. I would be surprised if it doesn't ultimately. That's the big thing that Alfie has, is the big trick he has up his sleeve, is that he can just do a Freeze Bomb and stop everything. And now the forces of teleport inside the base. Not the best idea to design pulsers, but still, good distraction, dealing a lot of damage. The numbers are going to be able to assault this very effectively. Those Fire Legos need to come back and start Freeze Bombing everything. And that's, I'm sure, what Alfie's going to do right now, seeing numbers attack on his base. This is pretty much Alfie's only base. He has a Gargantuan in the top left corner, and there was an Octolego there, which would allow him to create an independent triad. Octolegos can split down into a Seppi and a Pharo, which is the easiest way to build an independent triad, though really any legal class can build an independent triad from split down. So now we have Shin Churchers, Zion Pulsers, and Teth Pulsers coming in, dealing a ton of damage. The Zion Pulsers, I think, are dealing more damage to themselves than to anything else meaningful, but there's still a lot of damage being dealt around. Shin Churchers are also helping out. The main base, well, now the main base has a slipgate in it, so Numbers has gotten gate tech. We'll be able to chronoport stuff back as well to help out, and more infantry coming up as well. So I think that attack actually got undone. Yeah, the teleported away, so it looks like Alfie, it's hard to tell from this angle, but it looks like Alfie actually managed to fend this off. From his point of view, nothing has happened yet. The attack seems to have been undone slightly. Looks like Alfie has an Octolego in the top left corner, but no independent triad. He has a bunch of infantry you need to fight, and I think that one of the Fire Legos actually managed to Freeze Bomb. It's hard to tell, though. It looks like, yeah, auto hierarchy has been put on for Numbers as well. But I don't know if Numbers has actually chronoported back to deal with this. Yes, he has. He looks like, no, he has a slipgate and a teleporter. I don't think he uses a chronoporter yet, but he might have. And if he has, that is very powerful. But I think he's just using it as a teleporter, which is what we saw before. Though I'm not sure where those vehicles went, to be honest. That is a little bit odd. They just vanished like that. Unless it was undermined. I mean, it might have been that they were undermined. And Numbers has actually jumped back in time as well. I don't know if he may have chronoported back some units. And yes, he has. There we go. That's what I was looking for. So he has chronoported back some units. And, or has he? They were glowing, I thought. Maybe he hasn't. Odd. Anyway, he does have a lot of units. However, a lot of them were undermined, and a lot of the vehicles were undermined. He's going to have to fix this up. He has very little CE to do it with. So that Gargantuan, I think, may have managed to pull something out. However, Numbers has so many resources, I'm surprised he got undermined in any capacity. It's something that I would not have expected. However, the Gargantuan has been killed, finally. Vehicles are being built very rapidly, and Numbers will be able to attack. However, the infantry... Oh, man, the vehicles coming in here were hierarchy to the infantry, and they're going to start dragging away. That must have been what happened. The hierarchy units got dragged away because they wanted to approach the rest of their hierarchy. And that completely messed them up because of the way the teleport worked out. So that blue time wave is going to carry some really bad news for Numbers once it gets along here. And yeah, once you see blue time wave come up, and most of the infantry has been... Nope, never mind. Numbers actually managed to recover from it. Good. Okay, good. Numbers managed to recover from that little... That was a bit unexpected. But Numbers managed to recover from that. So he will be able to attack as he expected, which would have been really annoying for him if he couldn't. This would have been kind of a pain in the ass. You turn on auto hierarchy to save chrono energy, and then he ends up losing his units because only half of them teleported because of a weird bug. But maybe the green time would actually be the problem one. So Numbers at this point hasn't used chronoporting at all. Alfie still hasn't used much either. Numbers has more of an excuse because really that's what gate tech gives him, is teleporting, free teleporting. He has, however, chronoported something back, and that may not be enough though, given that it was obviously destroyed. So this assault in the main base is turning out to be a lot harder for Numbers than it looked. So Numbers is in a great position to set it up. He hasn't actually managed to pull it off yet. Getting a lot of units teleported to the main base, but it looks like they're getting heavily damaged very rapidly. Not being able to last long enough, given that there's a lot of defense going on. So Numbers does need to get one big concerted attack, and from there he'll be able to crush Alfie right now, because he's in a much better position, has much more map control, has far more resources, and has the initiative as well. So Alfie I'm probably going to start fast-forwarding it. He really needs to fast-forward, get closer to the present. And it looks like he is fast-forwarding now, actually, so he will be able to get closer to the present. He will be able to deal with these vehicles coming in as they come in with the Far Lego. But the Far Lego has been destroyed. Test Pulse are coming in as well. Zion Pulse are coming in, destroying more of the Triads. Most of the Triads have been destroyed. And it looks like ultimately there's a lot of Triads, a lot of the Progen Triad on the north, the Podcast Triad, is getting damaged. But it's not really easy to tell if it's going to be ultimately damaged. There's a lot of change around going on. I think it might have been not quite a paradox, but still a lot of stuff that the numbers may have thought have happened that didn't ultimately happen. So this will be a rather interesting setup if numbers is actually able to pull us up. And now more units get teleported in. From Alfie's point of view, he is actually de-progen his pod class and is using it to defend against this attack. That will be a much more effective strategy, but I don't know how hard it's going to be. That Oxbot is trying to do what he can to Design Pulse. One of the Design Pulses is destroyed, but the Oxbot will be killed too, and that will be very damaging for Alfie. He won't be able to build any more legal class units. Not that he was building legal class units, but he won't be able to. And I think some chronoporting has gone on. Yes, one of the Far Pods has been chronoported back, so that will be harder to defend against, and that will be able to stop the attack as it comes in. Numbers has known this happened, but he's not chronoporting back anything of his own to help reinforce, at least not yet. So Numbers is going to need to delay his attacks somewhat. He's dealt some damage, but Alfie was able to stop a lot of damage that he ultimately dealt. Numbers will need to build some more units, chronoport them back. He has plenty of CE right now, so he can easily do that. But he needs to do that very quickly, because that's going to be his way to win right now. That red time wave is going to carry, or blue time wave, I should say, is going to carry less damage than he had originally dealt. Though it looks like even on that, there's still a lot of damage being dealt. Even with the chronoporter back far above, that's still not going to be enough. Alfie is in a very bad spot. He, however, is far enough ahead he could easily chronoport back some units to help defend from here. And he has. He has actually chronoported a bunch of units back to right before the EPP, and that will be able to help out quite a bit. Octoligo and all his Podcast units are chronoporting back to when the attack initially happened, but I think that may just allow him to get killed faster. Actually, I was expecting he'd be able to attack with both the old and the new at once, but it doesn't seem he's actually got that chance. This is also a bit of an echo attack, since those units were ultimately killed. As a result, this is just one time wave. The next time wave will probably see that didn't even happen. And it doesn't matter. Honestly, Numbers has this right now. He is completely assaulted the base of Alfie and full-on echo attack from Alfie, but that won't obviously ultimately do anything useful. Now, units getting very heavily damaged in Alfie's base. Alfie's not going to be able to deal much with this, and Numbers pretty much has taken it over. So Numbers has sealed the deal in this game. Alfie's just got to surrender now. Numbers really has taken the series. Very well done for Numbers. I'm a bit surprised. It was a very exciting game, especially that nanite super weapon, but really, Alfie trying to do the best he can, trying to defend, but there's so much coming in for Numbers, even on the red time wave. Alfie seems to be trying to chronoport something back to the red time wave. Numbers is a bit suspicious of what's going on, but I don't think anything ultimately changed. It looks like Numbers still has the game, and even if that particular attack doesn't succeed, Alfie was still heavily damaged enough that it would be an echo attack to begin with. So the attack will ultimately be destroyed and... Sorry, not the attack. The defense will be destroyed. Numbers will win from here on out, and yeah, this is what we saw before with the infantry attacking base class Triad. Even with this is hopeless. Numbers has the game. So Alfie is just double checking, making absolutely sure he has lost. He still has a couple of RPs set up around the map. I don't think he has any independent Triads. He did have an Octoligo, but I think that died in the battle. He also has a Pharopod, which he could use. He could get a legal class unit and try to recover, but Numbers would have plenty of time to get an even larger army and just to build up everything. Just double checking, even in the far past, there is nothing going on. Alfie has nothing going for him unless he can send something from an independent tribe that he had maybe in the center east. The only part is the center east of the map. There are some RPs. There might be an Octoligo there. It'd be an unsafe spot to put it. No, there's just RPs. That's it. So that is the game for Alfie. That is the series for Alfie. That is well done for both players, but it looks like the RP is doing a defeat dance. Just up and down and up and down. So Numbers has taken this game, and Alfie is going to be having to surrender once he realizes what's going on. He is jumping around, making sure that everything is as bad as it looks, and yeah, it is. It really is. So, it looks like he's trying to just do some last-minute attacking with a Pharopod. Man, that's really weird. That's just weird. And Pharopod is coming into the main base, has started dealing some damage to the forces in the main base, but it's not going to do anything ultimately because that main base has been destroyed. Alfie has no way of making more units. He has no way of building anything up from here. He's going to be able to destroy a bunch of Numbers' forces, but Numbers has already won the game. Like, really, there's nothing Alfie can do right now. Even if he chronoports back that Pharopod a couple times, there's nothing he can do. Numbers is just going to teleport these guys away, and then from here he'll be... Really, just send a Shin Turtle or something at his leisure. He doesn't have any reason to be worried right now. Alfie is just trying to see what he can do, just trying to... Staying in... I mean, it's not a bad idea to stay in if you know you might have a chance to win, but really that one Pharopod is not going to do it. He's not going to be able to attack enough. All it takes is a Shin Turtle, and that Pharopod will be dead. So, just waiting on Numbers right now to build a Shin Turtle and use it to find that Pharopod, or just wait until the Pharopod runs out of energy. And the Pharopod has actually been chronoported back to help out in the attack. And really, okay, maybe one Pharopod going back several times might deal some damage, but Numbers is way too secure right now to be able to lose that much to a Pharopod chronoported over and over again. Alfie does appear to be quite keen on doing this, but it's still something... Numbers is actually surprisingly just letting this happen. Because back when Alfie is... Yeah, it looks like he's chronoported back one of the units. He's just double-checking, seeing what's happening with the chronoport. And yeah, chronoported Pharopod. So, Pharopod helping itself out and likely to be re-chronoported back when it gets a chance. It's still not going to be that ultimately useful. I'm surprised Numbers has not just gone and started attacking with a Shin... I mean, you could just send a Shin Turtle back and done from when he is. Just to deal with this right away. And he is! There comes the Shin Turtle, a little bit late, mind you, but if he gets chronoported back, it should be fine. Test Pulsar getting destroyed, so all the forces that were here for Numbers have been destroyed, but a Shin Pulsar coming in, or Shin Turtle, sorry, coming in, will destroy the original... Here we are, here's what I'm looking for. The Shin Turtle has been chronoported back to come in to help out, and now the Pharopod has been dead. So the Pharopod has been destroyed, Alfie has lost his last chance at possibly winning already. And that should be the game. Alfie, I'm guessing, will be surrendering very soon. And hey, I was right, it will take half an hour. Like, actually 40 minutes. So, bit of a long game, but at least it's an exciting long game. There's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of, not only back and forth, but a lot of good defense from Alfie, and actually a decent little nanite infection attack. Very handy, but now Alfie has lost the game, and that'll be it. So, should be seeing Alfie GG very soon. Just watching, making sure that even in the far, far, far past, the Pharopods are dead. And yes, Alfie, the Pharopods are dead. The numbers... Well, okay, that's a little bit obnoxious numbers, but okay, whatever. I mean, to be fair, it has been a while, and Alfie has lost his Pharopods. Although, really, at this point, just scout around the map, make sure he's dead. And Alfie has GG'd in the chat channel. I'm surprised he hasn't GG'd up here yet. But yeah, Alfie in the IRC channel has GG'd. And there we go, Alfie has surrendered. So... Or lost officially, actually. So, that was the Alfie vs. Numbers series. Yes, so well done for Numbers, 2-1. And we'll be taking a break, and we'll be back with the Google Frog vs. Torben match, which I assure you is much shorter than this. The entire... I think both games are as long as this one. Sorry. I think all the games are as long as this one, yes. So, we'll be back after a short break, and... So, please stay tuned, and we will be... back shortly.